So basically what I'm doing is learning how to do an RPG or learning about an RPG without doing any research, without watching any videos or doing anything like that. I'm just learning from reading the book and taking notes and then going over those notes with you all. So we got to come up with a cool name with that. Help me out. So we're gonna we're gonna go over a new one today, this week actually, and I touched on this one before. This one is Tales from the Loop, and I touched on this on my first stream last week, but I didn't go over it in very much detail, and I wanted to kind of go back and look at it from while I'm taking notes and all that kind of stuff, so I'm sure not to miss anything, because I'm sure a lot of this is going to be some cool stuff, so I don't want you to miss anything. So Tales from the Loop has been out, I don't know, a year or so, I guess. It's done by Free League and is sold by Modifius Entertainment. And if you go to their, let me tell you how not to get it. Let me show you this real quick. So this is what I did first time. This is what you do not want to do. I went to Amazon and just typed in Tales from the Loop, and this came up. It looks, the art's right. Tales from the Loop. Simon Stollenhag, that's the artist. And I'm like, oh, cool, it's $33. Yeah, I grabbed it. Well, that's the wrong book. That's the art book. It's really cool, and if you enjoy this guy's work, Simon's work, go ahead and grab that. But that's not the RPG, so don't make that mistake like I did. What you want to do is just type in Tales from the Loop, and it's going to bring up Modifius Entertainment. You can see it up here at the top. Modifius Entertainment, and they're based in the UK. And once you go through there, you'll find Tales from the Loop, and you can buy it from them. This book is $45, $45.99 for the hardback, which I highly recommend. And the PDF is $27. They also have, I think Scott might have this. If you look over here to the right, they have the Tales from the Loop, Our Friends, the Machines, and Other Mysteries. So I guess they give you some more information on the machines that you find, the robots, those type of things, and also includes other mysteries for you to kind of campaigns. Is kind of what it is for you to follow. And that's $33, but it's currently sold out. But I'm hoping Scott will let me borrow his enough to do a look through if it looks like it's something that'll be interesting. So they also have like a bundle here for $92. You get this really nice GM screen, which Scott has. I haven't seen it yet. He says it's really high quality. You get the dice kit, which in this game they use 6-sided dice, and so if you have 6-sided around, just use that. They also sell them. They seem kind of expensive to me. It's 10. They recommend using 10 6-sided dice, but they're $20 for 6 of them, or for 10 of them. I might end up doing that just because they look cool, and I'm kind of falling in love with this RPG because it was the first one that I actually bought myself, and I'm really excited about it. So yeah, I might pick that up, and the GM screen. I don't know. They also sell maps, and they have two different locations where this takes place. It can be in Sweden or in Nevada, and I think you get. Let me click on this map here and see which ones you can get here. Okay, this is the one in Sweden because it says the Malaren, and I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but Malaren Islands. You can get it there. Do they have on the other one? No. But there's also a map for Nevada as well. I know this because Scott printed out each of one for me in large format, and they look fantastic. So I might end up actually hanging them up back here just because I think they look so awesome. Then they have posters for sale. The character sheets are free. You can just click here. You do have to kind of buy them. You just kind of put in like you're checking out, but it doesn't charge you anything. You don't have to put in a credit card, and it just gives you the access to this PDF, which is free, and that's kind of nice. So anyways, like I said, do not, if you go on Amazon and you see this picture, that's the wrong book. Don't get that one. The cover looks like this, like the one on my desktop. Like this one. This is the one you want. This is the RPG. So don't make that mistake. Because luckily Scott actually had an extra copy of the Tales from the Loop RPG, and he was about to buy the art book, so we just kind of traded, and it worked out pretty well. Because Modifius, like I said, the hard book edition is $45 now, and it's in UK, so you might have to wait a week or so to get it if you're in the US or somewhere else. The book, let me see here. Yeah, the book itself, it's basically 8.5 by 11, a little bit larger than that. I measured it with my trusty tape measure, and it said it was 8 3/4 by 11 3/4, and it's 191 pages. 191 pages. Well, plus I think there's a page even after the page number stopped. So 191 plus pages. It's hardcover. The cover's like super thick. It's heavy duty. That's awesome. And what I did is I divided the price by the number of pages. And I actually did this on kids on bikes as well. But I divided the price by the number of pages. $45 divided by 191 pages equals roughly 24 cents per page, 0.24 cents per page. So I think that's a pretty good deal for a hardcover book. The softcover Kids on Bikes book was 75 pages, and it was $25, and that comes out to about 33 cents per page on a softcover book. And so I don't know, you can take that for what you will. It might just be something I do from now on, just because I think it's kind of cool to see hardcover versus softcover, and also how much per page, right? How much content is there? How much am I getting? I told you that there's free character sheets to download on the website. And so that's pretty awesome. A couple free maps that you can, I think you can download maps for free, but then you can also pay to have them printed out for you as well. They're large. But back to the kind of first impressions. When I first got this book, I'm kind of looking over it. The cover art to me is just intriguing. It's some kids kind of walking in a field, and there's these kind of tower things back there. One kid looks like they might have a weapon of some sort. I can't really tell. Like, they have backpacks, they have a couple bicycles there, and it just looks like there's a story going on. It begs me to ask the question, what's going on here? And so I was really intrigued by the artwork, and then the font is super cool. It's kind of futuristic, and I kind of like that. On the back it has a little bit of a quick rundown. I keep looking over here because I can see what I'm seeing down here, what's on the screen. So that's why I'm looking over here. But on the back, there's a quick little rundown about the book. I thought that was cool. Now, one thing, there's a sticker right here, and it says ENnie winner, ENNIE winner, and I'm assuming that's some type of RPG award or something. So I flipped to the back, and there's a graphic kind of saying the same type of thing right here. I know it's hard to see, but there's a graphic right here that says ENnie's Gold 2017. And they won in 5 categories: best game, best setting, best interior art, best writing, and product of the year. So that's pretty cool. They won this awesome award. However, they have it right here on the back. They have it right there on the back. Why are you going and putting stickers on my books, man? Like, I bought this awesome book. I've been real careful with it, and for the most part, there's a little ding in the corner, but I've been pretty careful with it, and I don't want like this sticker taking up part of my stuff, and I'm afraid to try to remove it and it's going to peel off half the stuff. I'm not getting into that, right? So yeah, just don't put stickers on the book. Put it, if there was cellophane, put it on that. You already have it on the back. I understand that you wanted to really show it off, but man, don't put the stickers on the book. All right. So anyway, enough of that. So anyway, just from the quick look around, it's heavy duty. The binding is really nice. I was able to see, like, if you flip to a perfect page and you kind of stretch the binding apart, you can kind of see a stitch every now and then. It's not that big a deal. To me, it's pretty decent quality. It's a nice book. The binding, like I said, is tight. It doesn't pull straight apart, or it's not wobbly or anything like that. And then when you flip through, just like doing a quick flip through of the pages, to me, there's blocks of text. There's this awesome art from Simon, I think it's Stollenhag. Simon is what I'm going to call him. All through here. Here's another one. And each one of these pictures, especially from Simon, I'll find another one. I mean, that's just epic. Look at that. Look at some type of cool bird on this old robot head with moss growing on it. I mean, each one of these pictures just grabs my attention and like says, there's a story here. You know, what was going on here? And look at this. There's some people in a parking lot. There's some type of giant ship behind them. It's kind of rainy outside. Just, it looks awesome. And that type of artwork, just flipping through the book, it's like, okay, I feel like I made a good decision here when I bought this. This type of weird ship. But yeah, there's stuff like that all through here. Go, my notes page. There's stuff like that all through here that art just captures the imagination. And so flip through this book, I felt like, okay, well, I got my money's worth for sure. And then something else I noticed was the information. So after looking at the pretty pictures, I noticed the information. Just flip to just about any page, and you'll see these blocks of information broken up. I mean, random page. You know, they're broken up in blocks. Nice pictures, more blocks. And so this to me just told me right up, you know, right in the very beginning, it looked, you know, digestible. It doesn't look intimidating to me. You know, being a new RPG player or researcher or whatever I may be at this point, but reader, it didn't look intimidating to me. It looked like, okay, cool. Well, I can actually read this, and it's broken up into chunks on every page. And so I can just digest that page. I can digest that little part, and it's no big deal to us. So so I really like that. And what do my notes say here? Oh, the artwork. So like the artwork combined with these type of block text kind of triggered that that inquisitive nature, you know, inside of me. That was like, you know, I really want to know more. You know, I want to know what's going on in these images. I want to know more about what's in this book. And you know, to me, it begs me to start reading. And you know, I think that's what a good RPG should do, right? Is it should beg you to read it. And that's kind of what this did. And so flipping through it and kind of not being intimidated by, you know, from seeing these cool, you know, the way they blocked this out, I was like, yeah, I can do this. And so it begged me to start reading, which is what I did. So I started reading. This is chapter 1. And right off the bat, let me just flip through all the pages here leading up to it. So table of contents, and then bam. Welcome to the loop. And this book does not bury the lead at all. I mean, it sucks you right in. And I really want to kind of read you this real quick, just because I'm not going to get in the habit of reading to you, but I think this is just really cool. Page one, they just suck you right in. My daughter's been messing with my microphone. I'll fix it later. All right, so, and it says, welcome to the loop. The landscape was full of machines and scrap metal connected to the facility in one way or another. Always present on the horizon were the colossal cooling towers of the Bona reactor, with their green obstruction lights. If you put your ear to the ground, you could hear the heartbeat of the loop, the purring of the gravitron, the central piece of engineering magic that was the focus of the loop's experiments. That's the very first paragraph. I'm like, yeah. I mean, they're pulling me in the world right away. And then I'm going to read you this real quick. This is the very next paragraph right here, sucking you right in. It was the middle of the summer, and my little sister Clara had tried to follow me and my friend around for weeks. Her best friend was out of town, and my mother tried, without much success, to rouse my sympathy. I'd always taken care of Clara, not only because of her hearing impairment, but because there has always been something fragile about her, as if she can easily be damaged or broken. However, this summer had awakened the desire in me to ride far as way as possible on my bike and to do things on my own. When Clara suddenly disappeared, guilt hit me like a blow to the stomach, and I remembered she had talked about meeting a new friend called Betton. We found them on the other side of the strait. I still don't know how they managed to cross. We crept toward them through the tall grass as the wind tore at the pines. A woodpecker could be heard in the distance. Clara sat on a stone and leaned forward to place a daisy chain on the head of a runaway robot, her new friend, Betton. I signaled to my friends to keep quiet and snuck around to the other side. When I looked back, Benton was staring at me, its eyes narrowing to tiny black dots as it took my sister in its arms. Dude, I'm sold. Like, I'm right in. Like, very first page, and it sucks me right into the game, to the world. I'm like, yeah, I want to read more. So I'm flipping pages here, right? Then the very next page, it gives an example of what you might expect as a game master, or what they call a game master, GM. I guess that's standard. I don't know. And as a player, and so it kind of tells you, here's exactly what would happen, or here's something that might happen right here. So the game master might say, Benton has clearly seen you. What do you do? So the player one might say, I crouch down in the tall grass and try to calm myself, but feel my heart beating even faster. And player two might say, I guess it hasn't seen me. I try to sneak around it. So the GM says, all right, well, roll sneak. So the player two rolls 5 dice, and they need to get at least 1 6. Yes, a success. So the GM says, what do you do? And it kind of goes on. And so it tells you this short story, just in 2 little small paragraphs, and then it goes down. Here's how that would be played out in a game. And that to me is incredible, because I'm a new guy and I don't know how these things work. So the books, RPG books, are very intimidating to a new person, because we don't know what to expect. We don't know, how is this actually going to play. Yeah, I can read all this, but I don't know exactly how does this play out. I don't watch videos of people role playing. I've never seen somebody role play. So how does that actually work? They just hand it to you right here on the page. And I say, here's a good example of how this might play out. And for me as a new guy, that really helped to ease my anxiety a lot. And it just helped me visualize, actually playing the game. And I mean, to me, that's just awesome, right? So let me see where my notes are at. And I told you the game uses D6. I told you all that. So diving in, a campaign is called a mystery. So if you have a campaign, a night of role playing, then you're going to be engaging into solving a mystery. Okay. And several are given in this book. I think it's like 6 or 7 are given in this book, maybe more than that. But they're lengthy too. Each one has their own chapter, and then you can get more as well. So you're going to be solving these mysteries, and not as a rogue or a wizard or anything like that, but you're going to be solving it as a kid. You're going to be playing a kid aged 10 to 15 years old in the 1980s in either the Malaran Islands in Sweden, or you can choose to play in Boulder City, Nevada as well. So if you want to play in U.S., you can do that. If you want to play in Sweden, you can do that, or whatever. You can actually make up your own too, and they have a guide if you want to make up your own town. It kind of shows you how to do that as well, which I thought was a nice touch. So yeah, you're going to be playing as a kid in the 1980s, and this is what it says. It was the 1980s that never was. So basically what happened here is a large particle accelerator was built in the 1960s in this world. And this particle accelerator was responsible for all this new technology being developed. The types of robots and machines, some type of rifts in time and dimensions, and all types of weirdness and wildness has happened. All because of this loop of this particle accelerators that have been built in Nevada and also in Sweden. And all of these you will run, you're going to run into a lot of these type of things in your everyday life, and also while solving these mysteries. So I thought that was really cool. So that's kind of like the basic hook of it. Now they talk about 6 principles of the loop. Okay, and I'm going to read through these real quick. Let me see where these are. Yeah, they have 6 basic principles of the loop. So number 1 is, and I'm going to go over each one of these a little bit more detail, but number 1 is, after I list them, your hometown is full of strange and fantastic things. Number 2, everyday life is dull and unforgiving. Number 3, adults are out of reach and out of touch. Number 4, the land of the loop is dangerous, but kids will not die. Number 5, the game is played scene by scene. And then finally, number 6, the world is described collaboratively. Okay? Collaboratively. Wow. I'll get it out one of these days. But yeah, so each one of these, I kind of made some notes because I thought they were interesting. These principles that they give you, these guiding principles when you're playing Tales from the Loop. The number one, your hometown is full of strange and your hometown is full of strange and fantastic things. So they tell you when fusion particle reactors and this magnetrine effect were discovered in the 1950s, it broke the boundaries between the possible and impossible. So these huge transport vehicles fly, and these cyborgs are everywhere, and robots can think. Scientists can create these time portals and objects that replace the people's identities. All these things are possible here. These strange beasts can roam the landscape, and humanity can contact people and creatures from other times and places because of this. These fusion and particle accelerators that were developed. So it's kind of neat. So that's the first principle. The second principle is your everyday life is dull and unforgiving. So mom and dad, they still fight. Your brother still hates you. Your house smells bad. You don't have enough money to buy that awesome cassette tape that you want, because remember, it's back in the 80s. The garbage still has to be thrown out every night. Bullies pick on you. They probably give you nicknames that you hate. Your bike is broken. It's raining. You have no raincoat. So your everyday life is dull and unforgiving. Sometimes, yeah, a problem is solved. A mystery is solved, but there's a nice little moment there, but it only lasts a short while, and everything just goes back to the way it was, same as it was before, everyday life. So number three, third principle here is adults are out of reach and out of touch. So in this game world, adults don't understand you. They don't listen to you. They have their own problems. They live in their own world. There's no point really in asking them to help you with solving mysteries. They have their own problems, and the kids in this game have to rely on each other to solve mysteries. And it says the adults won't even believe all the strange things that these kids encounter. So that's number three, that the adults are out of reach and out of touch. And number four, the land of the loop is dangerous, but kids will not die. And I think this is pretty self-explanatory. Kids can be hurt, they can be locked up, they can be mocked or displaced, even robbed, but they can't die in this world. So that's number four. The land of the loop is dangerous, but kids will not die. Now, number five, the game is played scene by scene. And this kind of made sense to me. But as a new person, this is good stuff to hear, right? Just like in the movies, the mystery is played in scenes. First the characters, they talk to each other in the house, and then we skip forward and when they meet their teacher at school or something like that. So you skip all the boring parts. You don't have to talk about, well, and then we're walking to school, and what are you guys talking about? And did your bike? Are you walking your bike? Are you riding it? Is there traffic? You can skip all the boring parts. They have nothing to do with the story if you want to. So the game master, the GM, will set the scenes in Tales from the Loop, but they will also have help from the players as well. I'm gonna get into more of this as I go on in the next stream or two, because there's some really awesome stuff in here. So let me see here. So yeah, it even gives it, and this to me is kind of number 5 and number 6 here. The example was, or they kind of overlap. So number 6 is the world is described collaboratively. Okay, so they give an example here. The GM might say, "Does anyone have a scene?" And player 1, I might say, "I'd like to try to break into the high school and see what they're hiding in there." And the GM goes, "Do you go there alone?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so the GM can start describing that scene. The sun's going down above the oaks. When you lean the bike against the fence behind the gym, it's quiet and empty, and all the windows are dark. And he goes on, right? So the GM can start setting that scene with my suggestion that I would like to go there. Or also they talk about taking turns in here setting scenes. And so let's say we're going to go to the shopping mall this time. And so now we're at the mall. Instead of the GM describing it, the GM can ask, player 1, why don't you describe this scene for us? Or player 2, it's your turn, why don't you describe it? And so you can kind of go round robin around the table if you want to, or just, pick different people, or have people hold up their hands, or whatever you decide on. But I love that, because when I think about a GM, if I'm going to GM something, I don't want the whole burden to be on my shoulders as far as, you know, describing everything. Sometimes you want to kind of relax and let the other players describe the world to you a little bit, and they have some buy-in when they do that, right? So I thought that was cool. Um, so let's see, and I kind of made some notes about that. Yeah, so the GM's going to ask the players for help all the time, and you know what the school looks like or what the weather is while the neighbors are arguing or whatever, and let the players help decide and control the story. And that's one thing I really liked about Kids on Bikes was that narrative control and giving the players um, almost equal narrative control as the GM when it comes to describing the world. And this is somewhat like that. There are mysteries or, you know, campaigns that they give you that you kind of follow, but it still is up to the players themselves to help bring the world to life and giving the, you know, detail. And so the players and the GM work together to do that. I think that's a really cool thing. So um, yeah, I mean, I can go on and on about this, but what I don't want to do is there's so much cool stuff here, and I don't want to like rush through it. So what I'm going to do is on Wednesday night or Wednesday, I'm going to be going over the world because the world is so awesome here. I don't want to shortchange it by trying to shove it in with other stuff. So I'm going to give its own stream for that. Then I'm going to go over the world and how it's described in the book, and you know the locations where the mysteries take place, and you know the different type of technology, civilian technology and military technology that's described in here, and you know what's life like living here in the 80s, because the book kind of gives you a whole bunch of stuff, like just tons of material for you to really pull you into the world, and I love that. So I'm going to be taking some notes on that and delivering that probably on Wednesday, and for you all. And but overall, like first impressions, I'm super excited about this game. If you can't tell, I'm super excited. My first impressions literally just led me down a rabbit hole, and I started reading and reading and reading and reading. And you know, again, that to me is what an RPG should do. It should it should wrap you up in the world so much and the lore so much that you just can't help yourself, that you just continue to read, and you can't wait to start, you know, creating characters, and you start thinking ahead about, you know, the different things that you're reading and how that might affect the way that you play or role play or those type of things. So yeah, pretty awesome. But I think that's it. I think that's my first impressions for the Tales from the Loop. Does anybody have any questions for me? If you do, go ahead and you can type them in the chat, or we can you can type them in the comments section if you're watching this later, and I'll be sure to check them. But that's about it for me on this stream. I'll be back on Wednesday with some more Tales from the Loop.